Good evening, I'm Keisha Butts with the CTV News Update. Closing arguments today in the Derek Chauvin murder trial, the prosecution telling jurors that the former Minneapolis police officer had to know he was squeezing the life out of George Floyd when he pressed his knee upon his neck for 9.5 minutes. The defense contends that Floyd died not from Chauvin's knee, but because of underlying health conditions, drug use, and carbon monoxide.
Now, also need to be clear, this is not the trial of George Floyd. George Floyd is not on trial here. You've heard some things about George Floyd, that he struggled with drug addiction, that he was being investigated for allegedly passing a fake $20 bill that there was never any evidence introduced that he knew was fake in the first place. Right? But he is not on trial. He didn't get a trial when he was alive. And he is not on trial here.
So throughout the course of this trial, the state has focused your attention on 9 minutes and 29 seconds. The proper analysis is to take those 9 minutes and 29 seconds and put it into the context of the totality of the circumstances that a reasonable police officer would know.
Jury deliberations are expected to get underway today. County health leaders and members of the public health sector break ground on a new state-of-the-art behavioral health services facility. The project is a partnership with Luminous Health Doctors Community Medical Center. The new 2-story facility in Lanham will provide walk-in and urgent behavioral health services, as well as treatment for people dealing with drug addiction. Staff will also treat teens and adults with mental health issues through hospitalization programs.
This is a priority because our residents should not have to leave their county to seek necessary treatment. And you know what? I could actually go on and on and on about that particular point. I won't do so this morning, but let me just tell you how strongly I feel about that. I believe that it is fundamentally wrong to treat mentally ill and addicted people in jail. Our residents deserve to have their dignity preserved, and they deserve to be treated in an environment that is conducive to healing. Jail is not conducive to healing. This facility is conducive to healing.
The new structure will create about 100 new jobs in the county. County Health Officer Dr. Ernest Carter says there's been a minor bump in new COVID-19 cases, but more residents are getting vaccinated, and he says that's a good sign. Here in Prince George's, more than 81,000 residents have contracted COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. And to date, more than 156,000 county residents have been fully vaccinated.
We're seeing the light. We got to keep getting people vaccinated. They have to get vaccinated. And that's going to help us get to the end of the tunnel. As long as we can keep our 6-foot distance, wear our mask, we're getting that. More people vaccinated. What it's showing me is that we're going to be in pretty good shape come July 1.
Meantime, the state reports 631 new COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours. 11 additional Marylanders have died from the virus. This brings the state's death toll to more than 8,300. Currently, more than 1,200 residents are in the hospital with COVID-19. In other news, a 12-year-old boy from D.C. has been charged with fatally shooting a 13-year-old boy at a shopping center in Capitol Heights over the weekend. The victim is King Douglas of Upper Marlboro. The crime occurred Saturday night around 10:15 on the 1700 block of Ritchie Station Road. A second 13-year-old was found nearby with stab wounds but survived. Investigators say the incident stemmed from a fight between two groups of teens at the shopping center. Police are still looking for the person who stabbed the 13-year-old. Anyone with information is asked to call police. You're watching CTV News. I'm Keisha Butts. We'll be back in one moment.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Welcome back. The state health department will have to offer more assistance to local jurisdictions under new legislation passed by the Maryland General Assembly. Delegate Jocelyn Pena-Melnick sponsored the House version, which will require Maryland to do more testing, contact tracing, and vaccinations during the pandemic.
We passed actually a huge bill that I introduced with Senator Rosapep that requires that we continue to test for COVID, do contact tracing and vaccination. And it requires that the local health officers, which we have 24 of them, that they receive money and support, from the health department. So we did a lot of investments, to help the community regarding COVID, to make sure that we hold the health department accountable.
The COVID-19 Testing, Contact Tracing, and Vaccination Act of 2021 passed both chambers and now awaits the governor's signature. The pandemic made it impossible to file important papers such as wills, powers of attorney, and advance directives. So the courts temporarily allowed for their electronic execution and remote witnessing of certain documents. Now, a new measure passed in both chambers could make that permanent. Delegate Juanica Fisher sponsored the House version.
So the last year, people sadly, have been dying. We've lost 500,000 Americans and a couple thousand Marylanders in that. And so people were trying to do their wills, powers of attorney and the like. And so the governor's executive order allowed for some of it to be done electronically due to the pandemic. So what this bill did was basically codified what happened in the governor's executive orders, but expanded it with safeguards so there's not fraud and other concerns, so that people will actually be able to execute wills, POAs, powers of attorney, and other like health directives electronically.
What safeguards are put in place?
So the safeguards are that you have to have two witnesses with it, and that they have to verify your ID. We also took a Republican amendment. It can't be just electronic, it has to be video.
If the governor signs the legislation, it would go into effect on October 1st. A plan by Democrats to expand the nation's high court from 9 members to 13 may not get much traction. This after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she has no plans to bring the legislation to the floor. The Judiciary Act of 2021 is being co-sponsored by Democrats in the House and Senate. Republicans accuse Democrats of trying to pack the court. Democrats say the bill would restore balance to the high court after 4 years of norm-breaking actions by the GOP led to its current composition. Bowie State University professor Dr. Carmen Walker says the legislation is going to be a hard sell.
You have midterms that are going to be coming up. You have slim majorities. The Democrats have slim majorities. And I don't see all of the Democrats supporting this. Certainly the more progressive Democrats are supporting this effort. But, sometimes, pulling a party together is like herding cats, it's kind of difficult because they have their own political fortunes that they're considering. So I think it's going to have it's going to be a steep hill to climb. That's my opinion.
Conservatives now have a 6-3 majority on the court, in part because they blocked former President Barack Obama's nominee to the court. And we'll be back with more news in a minute. Stay with us.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit princegeorgescountymd.gov. That's princegeorgescountymd.gov. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
Welcome back. Prince George's Community College students can now attend Southern New Hampshire University at a discounted rate. It's through an articulation agreement which allows scholars to transfer credits seamlessly to complete bachelor's degrees. The agreement applies to 11 programs including nursing, cybersecurity, and criminal justice. Students can transfer up to 90 credits.
What we always strive to do is to make sure that programs align so that when students do transfer, there is little to no coursework that must be completed, that they enter into another university, the destination or transfer university as a true junior.
The university is located in Manchester, New Hampshire. Maryland Transportation Authority's customer service department and website are going offline for 9 days starting tomorrow. The agency says it's switching vendors to improve its website. You will not be able to reach customer service representatives by phone or in person during this period. Drivers with easy passes are being urged to replenish their accounts before the changes take place. The customer service number will remain the same, but the website will change to driveeasymd.com. Maryland's congressional delegation is pushing legislation that would protect and enhance natural resources throughout the Chesapeake Bay area. That's according to Capitol News Service. The measure includes Southern Maryland and creates a new federal park and heritage destination. The effect would form a working group to explore designating the estuary as a national recreation area. Well, the Maryland football team was able to resume its spring practice schedule this year, holding 3 practices a week for the last month. The team will wrap up 5 weeks of spring practice with the traditional red-white game on Maryland Day this Saturday at noon. Head coach Mike Loxley and the players are looking forward to the opportunity to have fans back.
We'll be very excited for the spring game. This spring game is important. Just like every other game, every time we get a chance to compete, it's important. So we're going to come out, we're going to have fun. And like you said, the fans are out, so we're going to give them a show. I think that'll give us more energy, offense and defense. They, first time in the shed with the fans in a long time. So, the juices will be flowing and the guys will be ready to go.
For me, I see it, as us taking the next step in year 3 as a program that we should be taking and being able to maybe balance the roster numbers out a little bit better to where we can practice and have 3 groups in the spring. And, one of the things that I look at that kind of tells me we're heading in the right direction is, when you've got 3 groups going and you've got really talented players in all 3 groups, it shows you that you've been able to create some depth and bring in enough talent to help sustain.
I just feel like I'm becoming a better student of the game. I'm learning more. I'm, spending more time in my playbook, in the film room, just expanding my brain, picking my brain, and just getting better on and off the field. It's definitely been a positive factor having spring ball this year.
Kickoff time is at 12 noon. Meantime, also on Saturday, the University of Maryland will have its annual Maryland Day virtually this year. For more information, visit marylandday.umd.edu. Well, let's get a quick check on our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 47 degrees. Tuesday, sunny with a high near 73 and a low around 55. Wednesday, showers and thunderstorms likely throughout the day with a high near 68 and a low around 37. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 66 and a low around 46. And now for the community calendar. The Coalition of Central Prince George's County Community Organizations is inviting residents to attend their monthly meeting. Guest speaker, County Executive Angela Osserbrooks, along with other county representatives, will address community concerns. The nonprofit representatives the interest of citizens in Districts 5, 6, and 7. The meeting will take place via Facebook Zoom this Saturday, April 24th at 9 a.m. To register for the event, email coalition.central@gmail.com. And that wraps up our CTV News update. I'm Keisha Butts. Have a good night and stay safe.